You're getting a cheer. Is that your people right there?
Probably, yes. Thank you. I assume it's the competitors.
It's nice to be able to sit a bit closer than a year ago.
Yes.
We were like,
nice.
Yeah. Okay.
We can give each other COVID again now.
So many questions, so little time. Open World Technology Platform launched in the summer. Yep. When do you truly start to see the benefit, and what are your success metrics?
Yeah, so Open World for us incorporates a whole bunch of things. We used it to explain our grander ambition to get into microservices, to get into exporting our technology to partners. But we've been in the business of exporting supply, technology, and capabilities to our partners for a long time, built a big B2B business. So it's already a giant, a fairly sizable part of our business. And we're really pushing on the stuff we've historically done, that's been growing well, and a bunch of new capabilities. And we're building all of that on the back of all the new technology we're building for ourselves. So we've started piloting new capabilities like our fraud capability for the first time. We're going to pilot service as a service and other capabilities, ultimately machine learning and other things. So really this year was about setting it up, starting to talk to all our big partners about helping them with technology. And we're building on that, and 23 will be an important year as we start to trial these capabilities and get them to a scale level where we can roll them out to partners.
Okay, so then on this idea of microservices and kind of enabling anyone to sell travel, how big a bet is that for Expedia?
Well, again, I think we're building it all for ourselves anyway. We were combining, we talked about this last year, putting our technical platforms together into one platform that will power our entire business. We've been slowly folding the pieces together, rebuilding capabilities, and the difference is now we build them with the idea that we could potentially externalize them. Now everything won't be externalized, but that's a journey we had to take anyway to rebuild all this technology and consolidate onto one technical platform. And all we're saying is, right, if we can then build it with an eye towards externalization, then we can enable all of our partners to take advantage of the technology we build. And ultimately, with the exception of a couple OTAs maybe, and we think we're the best, but nobody in the supply business, no small players can build the technology at the scale we can. They don't have as many data scientists, engineers, product people. We just have the scale to build this, and we want the entire industry to benefit from that instead of just us.
Now, I know you've said in recent earnings that your B2B side is growing. Is there a time that B2B could get bigger than B2C, especially given kind of how difficult it is now, how harder it is, increasingly hard to demonstrate value to the consumer, to differentiate? So does that surpass?
Yeah, well, I would answer your question by saying I'm not sure I agree with the latter part. We believe we can absolutely differentiate and demonstrate incremental value to the B2C side, to the consumer directly. But our B2B business is a great business. It's growing fast. We think it will continue to grow somewhat faster than our B2C business. Will it ever be bigger than our B2C business? I hope they'll both be giant. But B2C is on a very good growth trajectory. And B2B is on an excellent growth trajectory, and B2C, as we reinvent the technology, reinvent the consumer proposition, we are building our member base, we're building all the things we want to build, and we think that's going to drive a lot of growth.
Okay. So you're also building this system for rewarding hotels, and you reward them if they meet the traveler experience. So how will you measure that? Is it simply about conversion? Will you then list them? Do they get preferential listing? How do you work out?
So the idea behind rewarding hotels that give customers great experience is that we have a bunch of data and signal from the world in terms of bad customer experiences, reviews, complaints to our call center, cancellations, you name it. And we are essentially taking all that signal and feeding back to the hotels their performance in terms of satisfying our customers, with the view that hotels generally want to make their experience better and thereby make their business better. Now, if they don't, that's up to them, but we are using that information to inform how we sort hotels, and ultimately we're going to present those results to the consumer so the consumer can make like an eyes-open trade-off. If a hotel has let's say it's out of 100 and a hotel has an 80, and there's another hotel for $10 more that has a 90, you might want to say, it's worth $10 for me to have the safety and the comfort of mind, whatever, to invest in the experience. Or you might say, no, for $10, I'd rather save the $10 and take the 80. But we want consumers to be informed so that they make good informed choices and they feel satisfied with the outcome, whatever it is.
So the other thing you're doing is One Key loyalty. And I just wanted to know kind of how hard it is to unify brands into something coherent for the consumer.
Well, it's hard. I mean, we've had a lot of brands, as everyone here probably knows, and we've consolidated more and more energy around our big three brands, which are Expedia, Hotels.com, and Vrbo. But the idea of One Key is to go across all our brands
right.
and make sure that if you're in our universe, you're going to get rewarded, and you have a reason to cross-shop and take those rewards and use them across all our products. So when you think about it, we've had different kinds of loyalty programs on different brands. We've had no loyalty programs on some brands. In many ways, that's harder to maintain than just one simplified loyalty program for everybody. It's a lot of work to get to the one, but we will be there next year. It'll launch next year, and we're super excited about it. It's going to be great for the consumer.
Isn't it a bit of a slap in the face for your hotel partners? They're pushing hard on direct right now, and you're not concerned that you're pushing them further away at a time when you could perhaps be keeping them closer?
We don't think so. I mean, first of all, we bring lots of new customers to all our hotel partners, which is a great opportunity for them to turn them into loyal, long-term customers. But as we all know, I mean, this is a bunch of road warriors generally, but most people are not us. Most people don't travel all the time. And our data shows that about 83% of people actually never get a reward from a reward program because they don't travel enough. The one trip on an airline, the one hotel stay, it doesn't get you anything. Possibly free Wi-Fi here at Marriott.
If you're lucky.
But we can give all of those customers something to use across any product, across anything that has real value that they can take advantage of. And if that helps them travel again and then experience another hotel or another airline, that's another shot at each of them, turning them into long-term customers. So we view that as our place in the system, and if we can satisfy that need and move more travelers around, and we're subsidizing it out of our own pockets, then we're basically paying to put more travelers in your hotel, on your plane. Certainly on planes, people get miles on both the airlines and points with us. So we think it's all additive, and ultimately we're happy to get great customers to Marriott to join the Bonvoy system if that's what they want to do and if that provides value for them. But if they're going to go back and go to a place where there is no Marriott or go stay in something else, then we provide a solution for them.
So you're doing a bunch of stuff, not to demean what you're doing, but you are doing a bunch of stuff. Do you think more widely the industry is innovating? I keep thinking that hotels really, they just want to have heads on beds. Airlines just want to fly people around. They don't necessarily want to be innovating. Would you agree?
No, I think they all want to be innovating. I think innovation's hard, though, and as we all know, and we've seen over the last couple of years, hiring great engineers, great data scientists, great product people, it's hard work, it's expensive, it's very hard to do at scale. So I think everybody wants to be. Not everybody is set up as well to succeed at it, and that's why we're very invested not only in providing our technology to our partners and making them more successful ultimately, but also in providing much better capabilities to consumers. We think there hasn't been enough innovation, there hasn't been enough reason to love an app, love a product, and we've launched a bunch of new features this year, including price tracking on flights, including smart shopping, including trip boards, which allows collaborative trip planning. Those are things that start to really add value to a customer to say, oh, this is why I want to do it. If you think about the music industry, right, there's been Apple Music and Spotify, et cetera. There's reasons more have come along. You could have argued, well, one did it, right? I can get music, so I'm finished. But they made the experience better, more personalized, more customized, and they added value through the product. And that's what we're doing. We're trying to add more value for the consumer to make good choices.
So you talk about loyalty, you talk about customers coming to you, you talk about the great experience and all the things that you're developing. You're also back to the multi-million-dollar kind of marketing spend, and you have said that you want to move away from Google. The messaging is all around, as I say, this direct booking and app usage. But what happens in a downturn? The tendency is then to go back to Google. Can that now change?
No, I don't think so. I mean, first of all, we're heavily invested in Google still, and as long as we get the right kinds of customers out of the pool of Google shoppers and we can turn them into long-term customers for us, we're perfectly content to keep fishing in that pond. But I will say that we believe as we turn more of these people into members, into long-term customers, using our app, getting all of the benefits of our product, that actually sets up a much better base of business for a downturn. So if you don't have that base of business, if you haven't built the customer base of loyal, long-term, high-value customers, then sure, you got to go fishing and keep reproducing it. And we will certainly keep fishing there and other places. But our goal is to get the right customers, get them to take the right actions, to make sure they get the benefits of our product, make sure they get the benefits that we provide in member savings and points for rewards and everything else. And if they do that, we're highly confident they'll come back, and we'll build long-term relationships with them.
And as I say, we are kind of facing downturn, inflation, Europe certainly recession. How much more do you think the industry can take? And, you had this year to get a bunch of business in, and we've also had the cycle of people going direct. Do they now go back to shopping around, and is there, again, a race to the bottom?
I don't think so. I mean, I think, we took a near-death punch, from COVID, and by and large, most of the industry survived. Some of it got better. And certainly we've seen the power of the human need to travel in the last year or two as people were freed up and everyone could travel. Every conference I've been to, though, in the last year is like the busiest version of that conference that has ever been. So, I think the human desire for it will remain. Maybe there's an economic downturn. We've been through economic downturns before. And, some parties may play the price game, others will play value, others will play other things. We view our role as just providing choice and making sure customers are making informed decisions and getting what they paid for. So, the more we can do that, the better products we have to help people do that. We think that creates a better outcome. Even in a recession, you might still pay $10 to have the $10 more to have the 90-point hotel, as opposed to having a bad vacation because you took the 80-point hotel. So, I think it's not always about the nominal price. It's about value for money. And if people know what they're getting and are satisfied, people are going to still travel. So if the market, what is it? Global travel is a $2 trillion plus market. If it's down 10%, which would be horrible, it's still a $1.8 trillion industry. Like, there's plenty of business for all of us. And I think whatever comes, it too shall pass, and we'll be in better times in a year or two.
But if consumers chase price, which they have done in the past, will you not be forced down the price?
Well, look, we have the benefit of having a price for any need, right? I mean, you can get a 1-star, 2-star, 3-star, and a 6-star, if that's a real thing, hotel. And you can fly first class or business class or premium or the cheapest flight. So, we're there to provide choice to everybody and options. We certainly want to help people find the best options at the best price, but not at the sacrifice of a good experience, because ultimately what the industry, in our opinion, has done wrong is it has gone to price. We've trained the consumer to price, and often price does not result in a good experience. And if you want customers to come back and have a good, they have to have a good experience. So I think really in any times, customers actually care about more than price. Now, my 20-year-old, he might only care about price, but most of us care about the experience and would rather know with certainty that we'll get a good experience than just save $3.
Is your 20-year-old shopping on Expedia?
He does.
Okay. I do want to move on to sustainability. You made your strategy public a week or so ago. You say that your role is informing customers. One of the pillars is supporting a prosperous planet. That means there has to be a planet. And arguably, the message is out there that we need to do something about it. So do you feel increasing pressure to do more? And what more could you do?
Yeah, we feel a lot of pressure to do more. We really like to do more. It's quite a challenge, and it may sound trite, but we are in the middle. We're an information source, and we have the ability to inform customers, help them make better decisions, help them make informed decisions. The problem is the data sources aren't very good. And it's a lot of self-reporting. Some of your earlier panels mentioned greenwashing. There's a lot of noise in the system. Now, there are movements afoot in Europe and states in the US to get to a more defined reporting system for carbon footprints, et cetera. And that would really be great, because then we could take actual information and feed actual numbers back to consumers. But in the meantime, we are dependent on one another for the quality of this effort. And unfortunately, as the travel industry proves time and time again, it's a bit of herding cats. And much as many of us feel a strong desire to save the planet, it's hard to get everybody to agree on a system, and a system that is actually auditable and real and definable. So I think there is a growing consumer demand. It's still not as big as people think. That $10 that people would trade for the 90/80,
right,
they would also trade it for the, okay, not as green, but I can save $10.
Yeah.
They do that all the time. But if we can give them really good information, I believe we can do a lot better. So if we could do it as an industry, it would be awesome. I don't expect we will. I think what will happen is regulators across the globe will increasingly require these standards, and that will give us a source of information that we can feel good about, because the equally bad thing is to give people a sense that they're doing the right thing, but not have any confidence in the information you're giving them, and that doesn't really make the world better.
One of the other things you've said is that you're committed to mobilizing the network of travelers, partners, and peers. What does that mean?
What did I say? That we're mobilizing?
In the statement around sustainability, that you're committed to mobilizing the network of travelers, partners, and peers.
In sustainability.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's about bringing everyone together to do this. I mean, I think we'd like to play a role. Again, in this notional idea that we could all do better. We were with an airline partner a week ago in Seattle at our campus, big American airline, talking about a bunch of business opportunities. And one of the things we talked about was doing more to align our goals around sustainability and other things. Now, it takes more than one conversation. It takes 1,000 conversations. But I think if a few of the biggest airlines, the biggest hotel chains, people like us, all got together and said, at least we're going to start laying the groundwork as an industry, we do want to mobilize everybody to take advantage of this. And we do want to power, back to powering partners to sell things. We may, in some cases, not be the best source of information, but you may have a sustainability blogger or somebody you follow who's very involved in the movement, and they have travel ideas that they're pushing to their followers. We want to give them the tools to sell travel and be travel entrepreneurs and drive more sustainable travel. So it's not that everything has to come through us. We have to be the source of all true information. There will be great sources of information, perhaps beyond our walls, that we can help power those people to drive similar outcomes.
Just briefly on the accelerator. How personally involved are you in that?
In the accelerator program?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was a brainchild of a few of us that, one of the pillars of our plot is to help underserved travelers travel better and have resources. And as I just said, we could put that all on ourselves, but we could also empower entrepreneurs who are doing really good and interesting things to help these kinds of travelers. Think of it, perhaps somebody with who's physically challenged or is in a group that has been traditionally underserved by the travel industry. If we can help those entrepreneurs by giving them learnings, coaching, technology, and other capabilities, it's totally consistent with our goal of driving capabilities that empower our partners to drive more travel and ultimately put more travelers in those hotel beds, in those airline seats, et cetera. So we think it's a very aligned program, and we're supporting something we believe strongly in, which is that travel is a source for good. The more people that do it, the better. And if people have been underserved as travelers, they need to be helped, and we need to help power that. We'll of course try to do it ourselves too, but if we can help power entrepreneurs who are driving this, then great, we want to do that.
So just finally, Open World, one key, Open World Accelerator, and obviously the Open World Sustainability Statement. What else can you open? What's left to open?
The hearts and minds of our partners, I think. This has been an industry that's been, sometimes at odds, zero-sum game, who's going to win, who's going to sell what. I think we are working hard to change the minds of our place in the industry is to help advance the whole industry. And that when we do that, everybody wins. The consumer wins, our partners win, more people can travel, all of that's part of it. So I think, we are on a charm campaign. We want people to believe and understand that we are not now trying to steal customers. We're not trying to have people in one key and not in Bonvoy. We're not trying to do any of that. We're really trying to power the industry to better outcomes using our superpowers, which are technology, supply, our core capabilities, and really driving that, trite but win-win opportunity that we all have. And I think more and more of our biggest partners are coming around to that, but we want everybody to open their hearts and minds to that. And if we do that and we deliver the products, I think everybody's going to benefit.
Peter, thank you.
My pleasure. Thanks for having us.